I am Dave Eastman, and today we're going to talk about executor versus trustee, what the responsibilities are of each of those, and then I'm just going to quickly go through some of the other agents that you have inside your binder, healthcare, power of attorney, what they do and whatnot. Hopefully that kind of clarifies some things for everybody as far as who does what, who's responsible for what, and what their role and responsibilities are inside the binder that you have. So the first person that you need to understand is called the trustee. Okay, and the trustee, what a trustee is a manager of the trust. So anything that's in the trust, any assets that are owned by the trust, is managed by somebody called a trustee. And typically, when you create your trust, you are the manager of your own trust. You are the trustee of the trust, what we call an initial trustee. And then once you become incapacitated or pass away, then you have a successor trustee that takes over the management of the trust. And that can be whoever you want it to be. More oftentimes than not, it's going to be a family member or a friend that's going to serve as what's called your successor trustee. And once again, they only take over once you can't be the trustee anymore. And the two times when you can't be trustee is either you're incapacitated or you've passed away. At which point in time, then your successor trustee will distribute the assets out of the trust pursuant to the terms of the trust. You usually want to have at least one primary successor trustee and then an alternate or a backup trustee inside the trust in case something happens to the primary trustee. So a lot of times people will refer to the trustee as executor. It's not a trustee is a trustee. Executor is a term that we use if there is no trust, if we're talking about a probate or a will. But trustee is the manager of the trust and the assets in the trust. That's what they do. The second person that you've appointed inside your binder is called a personal representative. That's a legal term that we use for the person that you've nominated inside of your will to be responsible for administering your will when you die. And you might be saying, well, I have a trust, Dave, why are you talking about a will? Inside your binder, we actually created both a trust and a will. The purpose for your will is simply to pour everything into your trust if you forgot to put it in the trust while you were alive. So if you made a mistake, you left a house outside your trust, you left a large bank account or investment account outside of your trust for some reason, and then you died, then your personal representative that you've nominated inside of your will probate your will to gain control of the assets that are outside the trust. And then once probate has been closed, then the assets that were outside the trust and went through probate will then pour into the trust and then be distributed by the trustee of the trust to the beneficiaries of the trust. Just like with your successor trustees of the trust, you should have a primary and then an alternate or a backup on your for your personal representative on your will. Now, as long as you did everything you were supposed to do while you're alive by putting everything into your trust, then the will never comes into play and there never will be a personal representative that's going to be appointed to really do anything under your will. But if you had to use the will to gain control of the assets after you died because you left it outside the trust, you have your personal representative that's in the will to do that. Executor is a term that's used kind of synonymously with personal representative. So when we see or hear that term executor, we're referring to probate, we're referring to a will, not a trust. But their only job is to, and everybody that's listening today and all my clients, you have a trust, their only job is to get the assets into the trust that you may have forgotten to put in the trust while you're alive upon your death. So that's the personal representative or executor. The third people that you have inside your document are going to be your healthcare agents. And your healthcare agents are the people that make all of your medical decisions. So they have the right to deal with the hospitals, dentists, pharmacies. They can admit you to the hospital. They can take you out of the hospital. They can put you into long-term care. They can take you out of long-term care. Blood transfusions, amputation of limbs, anything that deals with your medical, that's your healthcare agent. And you're giving them the authority to make decisions for you if you cannot make your own medical decisions. Your healthcare agent under Arizona law is also the one that is responsible for burial decisions and things like that. So for your healthcare agents, you want to always, once again, have a primary and at least one backup or alternate on the healthcare. If you're married, it's typically going to be your spouse first, and then it's your kids as the alternates, or another family member or friend who would serve as your healthcare agent to do that. The fourth person that you have inside your documents that you've appointed to do something is your agent. Under property power of attorney, or financial power of attorney, or durable financial power of attorney. It's all the same thing. And that's the person that that will manage financial affairs for you if you are incapacitated. If you're alive but you lack capacity, then you've appointed an agent to take over, step into your shoes, and manage your financial affairs that can deal with your bills and your financial responsibilities and assets that are not in the trust. They'll manage for you and on your behalf. So dealing with your credit cards and Cox Cable and Verizon and all those things. That's your financial power of attorney, your agent under a financial power of attorney. Same thing, you're going to want to have a primary and at least one backup. Once again, if you're married, it's usually your spouse first, and then you have a loved one or family member or friend as your alternate. If you don't have any family members or friends that you trust, and then the question becomes, who serves in these capacities? Who will be my trustee? Who will be my personal representative? Who will make my healthcare decisions? Who's my financial power of attorney? If you have no family members or close friends, or maybe all your friends are your same age, and you're worried that they're going to die before you or soon after you or something like that, then your options are kind of limited. Your options really come down to banks, financial institutions, private fiduciaries that do those kinds of things, and so those are the people you'd pick to serve in these capacities to do that for you. The other thing I was going to mention with in regards to these things is a lot of times people say, do they have to live in Arizona? Do they have to be attorneys or financial planners or CPAs or doctors or nurses to serve in any one of these capacities? And the answer to that is no. They certainly don't have to be educated in any one of these matters to serve in this capacity. The number one thing is that you trust them, that you know that they're going to make good decisions for you. And they're not going to run off with your money or do something crazy. So the number one deciding factor is trust, that you trust them, that they're going to do the right thing. And then we draft a document and put them in there, and whenever you need them, they're in there to serve in that capacity. Do you need to change the documents if somebody dies, if your first agent should predecease you? Not necessarily. If we have Bob here is our first agent, and then Judy here is our second agent, and Bob dies first, you may not need to change the documents, because the trust and all these other documents are going to say if Bob can't serve, then it automatically goes to Judy next in line. If you want to just clean it up to remove Bob's name, then yeah, you'd have to update the documents. If you just don't like who you've picked, you know, maybe 20 years ago you picked Bob, and now you decide we don't like Bob anymore, or Bob's getting too old, or something like that, then you'd want to change the documents to remove Bob and add an alternate agent in there, somebody to take over for him. So hopefully that helps. These are the major documents inside your binder. Hopefully that is clear on kind of what everybody's role is. Trustee responsible for trust assets, personal representative or executor is a term we use for your will, which we hope we never have to use. Healthcare agent is the one in charge of making all of your medical decisions for you if you cannot. And then your financial power of attorney is the one responsible to manage your financial affairs if you become incapacitated. Any questions on that? We're going to do this kind of a short meeting today. Not sure if there are any questions. I think it's pretty clear. It isn't too complicated on what we're talking about today. If you do have questions, remember you can use your chat feature on Zoom to do that. And if there are no questions, then we will once again, Elisa will post this to our website and to our YouTube channel that we have. So you can always go back and rewatch it. Hopefully you can read my handwriting. But hopefully this was beneficial to you today. We're going to do a drawing for our gift basket. And it looks like we have, is that Cooper? Steve Cooper. Congratulations, you've won our gift basket for the month of November. So Elisa will reach out. I think we have your contact information. So Steve will reach out to you. We'll find a way where we can get you the gift basket. Once again, congratulations. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with family and friends, and everyone's safe and doing well. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks. Bye. Who was